You're listening to the Jiu Jitsu Lou podcast, and I'm Lou Temlett. I'm guessing you're having a good day because either you've been on the mats, considering getting on the mats, or maybe you're heading to your next competition. I'm so happy you're here listening or watching this episode. Please don't tap out before the end. When you want to upskill, start training Jiu Jitsu. I'd like to welcome Corey Kent to my podcast. Corey, hello, how are you?
Sorry, I tapped out.
Oh, busted. Right.
Yeah.
How are you
we
doing
then? No, I beat you to it. How you doing?
I'm doing really well, actually. Yeah, I am doing really well. I'm a bit achy. I got a bit thrown today at Open Mat, which was nice. And I also got spotted in Starbucks.
Nice. Did they also train jiu-jitsu?
Well, they did, actually, because they asked me whether I trained jiu-jitsu. And I said, kind of a bit embarrassed, yes. And she went, "Oh, I listened to your podcast." So I felt a bit like reverse starstruck, humbled.
Well,
and
to be fair, that is quite crazy, especially since the fact that the sport's already so small as it is. To get spotted even for a podcast in the sport, that's even more crazy.
I know. I'm taking that one, Corey.
Yeah, I would take that. I've not had that experience either. I've never gone out into Costa. I go there all the time. I'm never spotted. They just spot me for the amount of times I've been there, let alone for my jiu-jitsu.
At least they serve up your coffee.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I could be grateful for.
Exactly. So you get spotted at competitions and open mats, Corey. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's quite weird, especially weird because of no matter how big you could get in the sport, like you can get some people like Felipe Andrew, like Gordon Ryan or Craig Jones, and they're big to us, but get normal people in every day, they're nothing really. No one knows who they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's quite cool. It's nice to see people. I like meeting new people, especially in the sport. I feel like. I feel like jiu-jitsu kind of builds us all together in a certain way. It seems jiu-jitsu has that ability where you could have completely two people with different personalities, different everything, but they'll connect because they both do jiu-jitsu. And I think that's such a beautiful thing about the sport. So yeah, people come up to me, they'll say like, I look at your Instagram, or I've seen you at competitions, or you fought one of my friends or something, or my teammate at another competition, and you look good and everything like that. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And, I had an experience once with my girlfriend. I took my girlfriend, I took her to the IBJJF London, and the whole time I was just chatting to different people that approached me and everything there. And then when we walked away from some people, she would go like, oh, you get along with a lot of people. How many friends you got? And I said, oh, I don't know that person. I don't know him. He went, oh, why you sound so friendly. I said, oh, I don't know. I just don't want to be rude.
No, you are a very friendly person, because I met you for the first time in person at the Impact Invitational back end of 2024, or maybe kind of the beginning end of the summer, whenever it was. But I was in awe to see you. You stood out a mile because you're much taller than I am, and it was a great thing. Thankfully, you weren't sat directly in front of me while we were watching all the matches. You were sat to the side, which I was very grateful for.
Yeah, I block out a lot of people. Yeah, but I actually, you know what? It's funny. I remember one time I competed against someone, and we fought afterwards, and I won the match. And then we were just watching other matches together, like side to side. I think we were watching for another part of the division, and he just went to me and says, "I really want to hate you, but you're such a nice guy."
Oh, that's so lovely.
He said, "I really want to hate you. You beat me, but you're so nice and humble about it."
Yes,
And
you are.
I was like,
well,
I was like, oh, I appreciate it. I always think about if my mother could hear me, what I say, would she slap me or would she be happy?
That's a good measure of personal success. Would your mother be happy?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a mother's boy in that regard.
Oh, that's all good. Now, Impact Invitational was still quite early in your purple belt days. Talk to me about that, because before we started recording, you said the beginning of your purple belt competition career didn't really go very well.
Yeah, so I did. I can't remember the exact name. I know I went to Bristol for this match, but I remember I got my purple belt in June or July, I believe it was, and I got my purple belt from my coach Mark Winnington, and a week later I did it. I bunked up to purple belt so I can compete again in Bristol, and my first opponent was Frank, who doesn't know, is a very high rising star jiu-jitsu, comes from Cameroon, has an amazing story. He has adopted and trained by Sam, a black belt. I don't think I need to explain much because they are very much a hot topic news in the jiu-jitsu world. But yeah, I'm not going to shame it. He beat me fair and square to submit me both times in the gi and no gi. Good on him. He won fair and square. Couldn't argue with his result. Yeah. And then soon afterwards, I did I don't know if that was the second or third one, probably second. I did that Impact Invitational.
Yeah, and you won that one.
Yeah, it was a good win because it kind of confident me that I can hold this belt. I needed a win to at least feel like I belonged in the division.
Yeah.
So and then from that, I just used it kicks, just keep competing and purple belt. I just used it to fuel me.
And you've won pretty much every match since?
No, not every match. I could never say. I can't say every match. I've lost to some pretty good competitors and everything like that. But I have won more than I've lost.
Good.
And I've got quite a lot of wins I'm proud of.
Good. And your attitude to competing is just so wholesome in, the kind of attitude, the preparation, your mindset, your technique and your skill and ability just all comes together in that competition space. I'm wondering, did you ever take exams going through school years?
No.
Because I know you were, last time we spoke on the podcast, you shared that you were diagnosed with being autistic from the age of 3. And obviously that then, kind of puts you in a position of having the awareness to be supported. But I kind of feel embarrassed now that I've asked you whether you did exams, because I know that, the stress that you might be put under as a young person coming through with neurodiversity is an incredible challenge. But I equally feel like your competitions are exam situations, and that, you thrive and do so well. And I'm just wondering whether you kind of, echo any of that competition experience to maybe, what it might feel like to take an exam.
Yeah, I can see what. I think I like the question. I really do, because it is a very interesting idea in my head. I've never been good at writing and written bits and hyper focusing on that sort of areas. I find them very hard for me, and the only exam I ever did was an art exam, which was because I felt it was practical rather than written and all that sort of stuff. And I feel like jiu-jitsu has kind of, it's hard to explain it, but I feel like jiu-jitsu has kind of given me a filter of an exam that I can do, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Because it's kind of like it's a physical, mental, it's kind of the area I feel like I can do. I feel like I can physically do that. But if you write it, because jiu-jitsu, you can't really write down jiu-jitsu in a way. You can write, people write books on jiu-jitsu, but it's not really a written thing. It's a physical mind thing, and it's kind of like through experience you learn it, rather than very black and white, here's a textbook, read through that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I just feel like your technique, you bring it all together for that high pressure moment. And maybe if any of us are kind of going through exams, either as a young person or in later life where we're doing whatever, maybe using that jiu-jitsu mindset to apply back to our exam situation. Um, I'm already thinking, okay, breathing techniques, not getting gassed out before the end. So many connotations to kind of apply back to. I was going to say normal life. Jiu-jitsu is normal life, but just other
Jiu-jitsu does have a
situations.
lot of lessons that I Jiu-jitsu does have a lot of lessons that I have applied in my day-to-day life, such as the patience, the discipline, the hyper focus, the just the your way of thinking about how things should be done and how they can be done, and how through resilience and all that sort of stuff you can achieve things. You don't. It's easy to say these things, but you don't really quite realize them unless it's through I feel through jiu-jitsu, or pretty much maybe sports itself, from because it's all about those lessons. And I feel like
Yeah,
young people and like probably everyone any year can really benefit from those lessons. But the
yeah.
younger the better, I feel.
Yeah, and this would be the call to action if you're a parent or a young person and you're not training jiu-jitsu, and or your children aren't training, encourage them, get them involved. I'd love to see, I mean, this is out there, Corey, but you'll be with me on this one. Scrap schooling, just get the kids into jiu-jitsu from a very early age, and then when they feel ready and prepared with all of those mental skills and abilities, then educate with other things. But until that point, I think jiu-jitsu from an early age.
Nah, that's too difficult, because then when they become adults, they'll fight me, and they'll have so many years training. I'll
Okay.
let me get to masters division before they start getting really good.
All right. Okay, we won't change the school
We
system
see
until.
we I've seen on Instagram those kids, and like Art of Jiu Jitsu, they're monsters. Even going to Los Banditos in London, they're monsters. Those kids, they're gonna get
Okay.
worse. They're gonna get worse. I need to hide in masters divisions.
Look, we don't hide in masters divisions, Corey.
I do when those kids come at me. I do.
Oh, I love it. I love seeing the new generation of young people coming through. I'm kind of, top end of Masters 4 now. I'm definitely not hiding. You kind of get you get through the early part of Masters. I mean, I didn't start until late anyway, but
I'm
then
not.
when you
I'm not
progress.
slagging off people that are in masters. When I'm in mat 30, I'm probably gonna. I'll go. I won't be. I won't want to go against a 21-year-old when I'm like 30. When I've been training since I was 21.
Okay,
No,
I've
I'll
I've
probably.
got some masters advice for you, Corey. As a
Yeah.
masters 4, I was chatting with a couple of ladies today. We're in our late 40s, and we just can't get matches at masters 4, and we are having to
Yeah.
go down
Well,
to masters 2. This is normal.
that's probably worse for you, because it's the women usually have terrible times trying to get matched up.
I
So I
think
can only
I think
feel
everyone
sympathy.
does, but it's all good. But I think overcoming dropping down an age or a rank or whatever, not a rank because obviously that would be easier. But
Yeah. Drop me down to black. Drop me down to white belt. I'll be fine.
do you know what? When I
I'll,
saw you wishing Colin Howells a happy birthday with your white belt photo, I messaged Colin and said, "Oh, have you demoted Corey for your birthday?"
he might wish to. Maybe, I don't know. He hasn't told me yet.
He wouldn't
No, but
do
that
that.
was it. To be fair, that was the only. That was actually my first ever time meeting Colin.
Was it?
Yeah, that
Wow.
was my first time meeting Colin. I was a white belt, and I remember I went to a seminar to another club, and I loved it so much I wanted to do as many seminars as I could. And I
Yeah.
remember Colin just happened to put on a Facebook page about Vitor Charlene coming to the his club, and I just messaged him, said can I come, and he just messaged, oh yeah, you can come over, Corey, if you want. And never met him before. He just instantly just said, yeah, you're allowed to come over. And it was in Portsmouth, brilliant. So I just went straight over, and then I spoke to Colin in person, and I thought he was a nice guy. Spoke to Vitor Charlene, thought this was a nice guy, And then look where I am now. Now officially underneath Colin's VS BJJ UK. Really crazy how it all comes together.
Amazing. I think from you've just beautifully story arced your jiu-jitsu career so far from the white belt, and then kind of now back, I guess more in touch with Colin. Tell me about your transition and your kind of growth. And now you're based kind of, I see you coming over to the mainland quite a lot, to Portsmouth, because you're based in the Isle of Wight, if anyone listening didn't realise. I always see the red funnel and your coffee, not Costa, but...
I'll drink anything that's got caffeine in it.
So tell me about the frequency that you make it over to the mainland.
So it's quite frequent. At least once or twice a week, I'll make a trip over to the mainland. For those that don't know, islanders, people from the Isle of Wight call you guys on the mainland. The rest of England, mainlanders. Yeah. So I make the trip frequently to at least once Portsmouth, once to Southampton, and I've even been making the trips up to Los Banditos with my good friend Dusty. He trains with the Los Banditos at least once a week up in London, and I obviously great levels there with Owen Flanagan and all the rest there. They're obviously one of the I would arguably say one of the best clubs for no-gi jiu-jitsu in not just the UK, but I say in the rest of Europe. That might be controversial. I don't know if there's some Europeans who are going to get angry with that, but I can't argue with the results those guys are producing.
Yeah, exactly. And, I've seen so many people dropping in and out of that location. One day, we all of us might get the opportunity to train up there, but for now we can listen to your stories. What's it like training there, and the level of jiu-jitsu, Corey?
Oh, it's not easy. It's not easy. If you think you're going to go in there with an attitude of like, I'm just going to cruise through it. When I go to Los Banditos with Dusty, I have to plan like I'm going to go to war sort of thing. They're nice people. No, I'm not, and I don't mean in a nasty way. They're lovely guys. You speak to them, they're so nice and chatty, but they're so skilled and so they don't mess. They're so good. You can't go in there thinking you're just going to have an easy roll. You're going to go in there and you have to. They're going to make you work for every single submission you think you're going to get, or they're going to put so many submissions on top of you that you're going to need to defend yourself to the brim and all that sort of stuff. And it's brilliant for guys that if you're a competitor or think you want to be a competitor, you need to go to Los Banditos at least once time and then realize what it's like to actually be a competitor, because that club is just, I can't recommend it enough. Anyone if it's in the London area, especially if you primarily care for the no-gi, go there. I don't know for the gi. I can't make the choice for you whether what club in London's the best for the gi. There's many good choices, but nothing really stands out to me no-gi wise like Los Banditos.
Yeah. Amazing. We will continue talking about your skill and ability and your progress in a minute, Corey. This episode is sponsored by Grapple Worlds. Grapple Worlds is a statement BJJ event hosted in the UK, founded by grapplers who believe in rewarding boldness, where fighters get paid to go for the sub, all fight and submission-focused action from start to finish, with every single match offering a cash bonus for submission. High-level athletes from around the world are invited to show us their fighting best. Go follow @grapple_worlds on Instagram for upcoming events. Grapple Worlds, where the finish is everything. This is a Jiu-Jitsu Lou podcast with me, Lou Temlett, coming to you from the UK. Go and check out the latest video clips over on jiu.jitsu.lu on Instagram. And as you're listening or watching on your favourite podcast platform, I'd really appreciate you dropping the show a rating and a review. Today, I'm having a conversation with Corey Kent. Corey, thank you for joining me again, because this is our second episode and it's flowing really nicely. A bit like a flow roll, Corey.
What's that? I don't know what that is.
I know, I've asked someone first, haven't I?
I thought they were death matches.
Okay.
I was told if I won the flow roll, I'd get a gold medal, so I went crazy.
Nice. Okay, we're talking on a different level. I'm a blue belt. Corey, you are very experienced purple belt, and your level of skill and ability in jiu-jitsu is just exceptional. For anyone that watches your Instagram will absolutely agree. But you've been lining up your skill and ability in jiu-jitsu with a new range of skills and abilities. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I recently picked up on the idea of refereeing. I did a I did the UKBJJA Association level 3 referee course with Marcelo and all that.
Yep.
And yeah, that way I passed the test. I think I got 93% out of 100 on the, and that's going
Wow.
over that. And then because they were doing the Solent Open in Southampton, I took the opportunity to also try to be supervised referee on the day after. And God, was that a change? Definitely a change.
Was
I
it?
just
So it was quite difficult.
very difficult for me.
Okay.
Very difficult confidence wise. People. It's very weird how someone that I consider myself quite good at jiu-jitsu and competing wise good at jiu-jitsu, but
Yeah.
fumbling so much on how to keep up with the scores and like the point scoring and the advantages, the disadvantages. I think my style particularly, I'm not really a guy that hunts for points. I'm more of
Yeah.
a guy who hunts for submissions. I just so happen to rack up a lot of points while going for submissions because generally I got a good idea of the point scoring method, and
Yeah.
usually I'm a firm believer in a position before submission. So I usually try to get the best position possible before I submit someone.
Yeah.
So, and I thought that would translate well to the refereeing, where it's quite there's so much grey matter in the sport with positions and knowing exactly when a submission's on, knowing exactly when an attempt's made or something like that.
Yeah.
It's quite hard to do on the fly, which is exciting because it's given me that same feel as when I started as a white belt, not knowing anything and everything's quite new and everything's quite scary. You're no longer, confident. You're now nervous. You're second guessing yourself. So
Yeah.
that's how it made me feel. And at the moment, it feels terrible. But afterwards, in hindsight, it feels like, oh, actually, this is something that I need to now conquer. I need to now
Yeah.
conquer it. And also, I feel like in the long term, because the sport is my life at the moment, it's something beneficial for me to understand. Because even after the course, I realised a few little bits that I can use for my own self competing wise. That I now know that
Yeah.
I can do this in a competition. I can do that. Oh, the referee's going to think this way, or the referee's going to think that way, or
So
that
you
sort of.
mean the non-illegal moves and the ones that feel a bit sketchy you can get away with?
No, not legal stuff. Not legal stuff. I'm more thinking about you get so let's say for a normal referee in a competition, if you feel a submission's on to someone else, you can get but doesn't get it, you can ward advantages.
Okay.
So, but I find that quite hard because I don't really quite know when a submission is really on. I kind of have to rely on how they're reacting to it.
Yeah.
So So a good tip would be for someone like I would say for who's competing would be is just act like it doesn't affect you at all, and
Yeah.
then they can't really you can't say that it's an effective submission. But I don't know. I just it's a very speaking it now and then doing it is very. If you'll
Yeah.
find out a lot on the fly how it's all different and how mind-boggling is to be attention like staring at someone 100% like going like that.
Yeah.
Where you got someone like me with ADHD who just wants to look at what's going over there.
It sounds like you're, a lot of the grey matter, a lot of kind of, just stuff that you need to know and absorb. And it, like the journey of jiu-jitsu, it's going to take some time to layer up all of your knowledge. What I was really interested in was mentioning about not reacting to a submission. Now, I tend not to react, but some people walk around and you know exactly what they're feeling and their emotions by their facial expressions or whatever. I was being submitted or attempt to be submitted. the other day, and my skin's quite sensitive, so it goes quite red when I'm training. But apparently, I was going quite purple, and I was feeling fine. I didn't feel the choke on at all. Honestly, it wasn't on. But the person putting on the submission said, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." She went, "Oh, you've got a bit purple," and I was like, "No, that's fine."
But that's what I mean. That's something that a referee could see. If you did that in a competition and you were going purple,
yeah,
if I was the referee, I would be giving the other person. If you didn't tap, I would give the other
yeah,
person advantage because it looks like it's on and you're going to go to sleep. But you're telling me from your experience that you knew
yeah.
I'm not going to go to sleep.
Not,
That's
I
what I
mean,
mean. You
I
can
have.
get, but that's one of those
Yeah,
areas where you can have a go at the referee because you were saying this, but he doesn't know, and that's the
yeah.
bits where it's a bit confusing because it's obviously
That, that,
it's a stressful thing because we all blame the referee. Everyone blames the referee whenever something goes wrong in the match. They are very
yeah,
easy to blame, and that's why myself, I've never gone in with the attempt to blame a referee. It's the
yeah,
last thing I want to do is ever slag off a referee because obviously they make the tough choice. They are
yeah,
responsible, and you
yeah,
gotta respect that at the end of the day that they're just doing their job. So
yeah.
that's and
I might have
after that
to.
course, it may be even more respectful of refs because it's fucking
Yeah,
difficult.
yeah, absolutely. I think it is a difficult task, but maybe I just need to find ways to not go quite so purple. But when it's,
Maybe just smile.
I'm not. I
Just
do
smile at the ref.
anyway. Did you know what? There was someone taking some photos, and one of my good friends again was trying to choke me. I'm not sure. I'm, maybe they just can't armbar me, but I was just smiling the whole way through. So I will be mindful of my non-verbal expressions and colours in the future.
Just be careful not to be foaming at the mouth. They might think you got rabies or something.
As
Gone
long as
mad.
they don't give the other person an advantage, I'll be all right.
Yeah.
That's my excuse for being down on points, I'm sure. Anyway, so it sounds like refereeing is the start of the next kind of phase of your journey, and you've got a
But fingers
long way to
crossed.
go.
Yeah.
What do you have to do for this referee course? What do you need to know,
Um.
or what's your experience?
So so at the moment I'm a supervised referee, which means I get supervised by a level 2 referee. So they just supervise me because I'm not yet ready to get the level 2. I need to be
Yeah,
more supervised so I can make the right choices and they're more
yeah,
comfortable to sign me off.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's you got a lot. Can you rephrase it? Are you asking me exactly what is involved at the moment?
How do you sign up? So if somebody was a level of jiu-jitsu like
Oh
yourself
well,
and was
just keep track
interested,
of
what happens?
keep track of the from my experience, keep track of the UKBJJA Association. They regularly keep update of events, and whenever they're going to be passing a course on anything like this, or producing a course with a club or
Yeah.
any event, they're regularly updating it and everything like that. So
Okay.
yeah, just go on Facebook, UKBJJA Association, go on their website, everything.
Good.
And they seem to be after the course and everything. I generally I don't know how the other people do it, but they seem to be a good standard to what I see.
Good.
It's a good standard.
Now, level 3 sounds like you've progressed through level 1 and 2 to get to 3, but that's
No,
not the
it's the other way
case,
around.
is it? Okay.
Nah, no. I got it gets exciting, doesn't it? You go from level. It sounds good, doesn't it? Level 3 to level 4. Level 3.
It's good. It's good. So level 3 is the beginning level. Once you've gone through, is it some kind of
That's just entirely a
research
written
or
course. So
okay?
basically, he's given you just given a test at the end. You'll go through the booklet with the man, and then he'll
Yeah,
give you a test at the end of it. And if you get a percentage of over 90%, over 100%, you'll pass. And then the next step for level 2 is you'll be supervised for a whole I don't know how long, but maybe through a competition. And
yeah,
then they'll tell you at the end of it if you've passed or not, and they're happy to sign you off as a level 2.
yeah,
And then level 1 is a head referee, which is a guy who's in charge of all the referees of a competition.
yeah,
And that I assume must be just off experience and how long you've been doing it. And just making sure that you are the top, you're responsible enough to be in charge of a whole event.
Amazing. Now, I just want to reflect back. You said you achieved 93%. Now, if you haven't taken any exams, you've done pretty well in this one. So I believe that your technique with training and competing jiu-jitsu is, you've matched it across and you're doing exceptionally well in the very first stages of your refereeing course.
To be fair, it's based on jiu-jitsu. I got incentive to be good. To be fair, I said to the guys when we did the referee, said it'd be bloody embarrassing if I fail this, because I'm a purple belt and competed over 50 times or something like that. It'd be very embarrassing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was quite happy with it.
No, that's exceptional. Now, talk to me about some of your competitions that are coming up for the rest of 2025.
Yeah, so I'm going to be competing. I think I've got some All Stars I'm going to be doing, just because I want to do the absolutes and get some prize money, because jiu-jitsu is expensive. I think the next big competition I've got is the British Open. British Open I'll be going up to with my good friend Diogo. For anyone who doesn't know, Diogo is my good friend, and he's pretty much my sidekick whenever we go competing. We both try to compete as much as we can, and we're a pretty good pair, I say, in the competition scene. And we're both planning to do the British Open. We're gonna do the English Open later this year. We'll do the IBJJF. Actually, no, the IBJJF London, I think, is the first one we'll be doing together.
Yeah. Nice.
I'm doing both days. He's just doing the gi because here's the reasons.
That's fine. We'll leave that to you. Now, you mentioned go on.
He just does gi filthy.
I knew you were going to say something rude then, Corey. I was trying to avoid it.
Well, there's Diogo as well. He'll appreciate it.
Fair enough. You mentioned the British Open. Now, I've pre-registered. I've not paid for my entry yet, but I feel like I need to at least get in one competition a year. And a year ago, we're recording now, middle of May, I took part at my very first very first competition full stop as a white belt. And it was absolutely petrifying. Now I've spoken with a number of people about adrenaline dump and everything else. I realised what I was going through in my first competition. I think my adrenaline dump happened about half an hour before my match, and I was completely spaced out. I did not know where I was. I didn't know what I was doing, and I almost had to just be guided to the kind of ball pit and onto the mats. But that was a year ago, so I'm hoping to get into the British Open, so I will see you there.
And you probably did it the more intense way, because you went to a foreign country and all that sort of stuff, and then a very big competition like the Euro Masters. That's not a small competition.
No. So I thought, well, if I was going to do it, I spoke to my dad actually, and he went, "Oh, I'm not surprised. You just throw yourself in at the biggest opportunity." And I was like, "Yeah, I've got it out the way, and now I can deal with other stuff." But like you say, competitions and things are quite expensive, so I'm hoping to be able to get to the British Open. You've been to the British Open before. What is the experience like?
Well, that's actually a fun fact. The British, I've never actually. This would be my second time competing at the British Open, this event, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be a one I've actually. Because the last time I went to the British Open, I was a blue belt. I think it was one of my last competitions of the year as a blue belt, and I think I lost in the first match in the no-gi. First match I lost. Travelled all the way to Coventry with my dad and everything like that, and just lost in the first match. So hopefully I can rewrite this, and it's actually the only medal I've not won in this sort of big competition. I've won the English, I've won the IBJJF, I won things, but I've never won a British Open medal. So I'm hoping to change that this year.
There we go, and I will be there to see you on the podium.
There you go. You gotta be there now. There you go. You gotta make it. You just promised. Now you heard it, folks.
Okay. Now, you've got Grapple Worlds coming up, and that's the 5th of July. And you happen, we were talking before we started recording about, that you're the only Corey, but it clearly is not. You are not the only Corey. So tell me about that.
Imposter, mate. Imposter. There can only be one. I don't know much about my opponent. I know he's got a very dodgy name. No, but seriously, I know he comes from a good club. He's under Nottingham MMA, Shane Curtis's lot. So I expect, and I've had some good matches with Shane Curtis's guys that he trains up. So I imagine it's going to be a good show for everyone to watch. And I'm really appreciative for the guys that have even put me on the main card for this match. I thought it was a bit crazy when they said it was going to be a main card one. I was like, geez, I don't know if I deserve that, but I guess they love the idea of the Battle of the Corys.
I think they did love the Battle of the Corys. I think you've been set up, Corey.
Well, I think it's getting weird saying Corey now so many times, isn't it?
I know.
Yeah.
Now, if you've listened to the full episode, you'll have to tell us how many Corys we've actually said.
Oh God. Don't drink to it, might die.
Only coffee.
Yeah. Oh, well, you might die. I don't know if you could die from a coffee overdose.
You probably can. Okay, let's lighten this mood somehow, Corey. There we go. There's another one.
Yeah.
You are a sponsored athlete. Talk to me about what you're up to now.
So I've picked up some sponsors. And doing some good stuff with them. I'm very happy with how I'm going in my career so far. I've got some really good brands supporting me, and got some good working relationships with them. And I don't really have much to say. Just I'm very happy. We're in a good place.
Good.
Yeah, I'm very happy.
Fantastic. It's always a challenge when you're such a competitive. I don't want to call you a hobbyist because you're more than that. Do you class yourself as a jiu-jitsu athlete now, Corey?
Probably competitor, but I could say athlete. I don't like to say athlete because there's some kids that train twice a day and all that stuff. And I'm only doing as much as I can really because I do live in the Isle of Wight. I do have to make travel. I do drive the best I can. Yeah. I feel like I'm doing the best I can as an athlete. Let's say.
Okay. So as a jiu-jitsu athlete competitor, it's often really quite helpful to have some sponsors, or at least
essential.
Yeah, because it's not just about the cost of entry. There's so many things, as we all know, that go along with jiu-jitsu, and it's not a solo sport either. You really do need a team and community and people behind you. How important is your journey having all of those things, Corey?
Oh, it's been absolutely essential. I'm nothing without the people that support me and back me. And it's not just like sponsors or teammates. It's also just the average, the day-to-day people that support you. Like my parents have sacrificed everything for me. Throughout my life, they've sacrificed for me. It's my girlfriend putting up with all the training sessions when I could be spending time with her. It's it's my friends, spending their time to come train with me or support me. Your teammates. It's such a weird how selfish sport be, but there's so many people that you don't make it on your own. I don't believe in the term a self-made man because I think it's like disrespectful to people that help you along the way. There's no such thing as a self-made man. If I did everything myself, I could have never got to the way I've achieved now. Like I've been blessed with the generosity and like the support and the kindness and positivity of the people around me and the people that have made themselves a part of my journey. And I generally mean it to everyone who's been watching me and supporting me, sending me messages. I do listen. I do appreciate the messages, and they do stay in the back of my mind. And I thank God for everything that's happened for me. I really do.
Yeah. No, thank you for sharing that, Corey, because I think, when you start, some of us feel quite lonely and have got into jiu-jitsu to find some friends or build a community, but we never really expect to join that community and then be supported by everybody because of it, because you're kind of
Everyone needs
going in.
community.
Yeah, kind of, you go in single-minded and then you come out with such an open mind, I feel, with jiu-jitsu, and just, your humbleness, Corey, and just opening your you know kind of thoughts and gratitude for everyone that has supported you, because like you say, it's not a solo journey.
No, it's not a solo journey. So, just don't forget that, guys. If you got people, just be appreciative for the people you got around them, to open yourself up to other people, because this community is made up of people that support each other, and I'm very grateful to be part of it, and I hope to do my
Yeah,
part to be that to someone else in the community. And yeah, I'm
absolutely.
really happy.
Until you get to masters, and then you're going to hide from all the young ones.
Well, I might make appearances now and then, but I'll be so crippled, I imagine. My granddad probably walks better than me at the moment than me, with all the heel hooks I take and everything.
Amazing. Now, a number of kind of jiu-jitsu competitors and athletes have started to offer seminars. Is that something in your future, Corey?
I would love it if someone approached me and asked me to do seminars. I'll do it. If any, I've never been against it. It's just never. I'm not a person that goes around telling people just
Yeah,
PTs or like seminars, everything like that.
yeah.
I'm glad. If someone asks me, I'll gladly do it. But yeah, I'm very open to it. My DMs
What
are
would
open.
what would be your speciality if you were to do a seminar, Corey?
Probably techniques I've done in competitions or whatever
Yeah,
people really. My style's quite like a jack of all trades sort of thing. I feel like
yeah,
I don't have. I feel like if people look at my competition record, I've never really had one particular submission I go for. I kind
yeah,
of have a good idea of many different types of submissions, but yeah, I've picked up a lot of tricks from diff seminars, training.
yeah.
So yeah, it's whatever people want. I'm pretty happy helping people out, and if I know something, I'm happy to show it to people if people want it from me.
Okay. Well, I've got a question for you, Corey, because I'm still in my defense mode. I was at an open mat today and I was doing a lot of defense moves, just trying to
Yeah.
stop myself getting choked. Anyway, part of the journey and the transition with kind of white belt to blue belt and kind of onwards is having a bit of a game plan. What
Yeah.
would you, I guess, kind of, when I've spoken with other guests, they've mentioned about, if your game plan doesn't go to plan, get to that game plan. So if you you know someone pulls guard on you and then you end up in the wrong position or whatever, still get to your first position move, whatever that
Mm.
is, and then work through that. Does that
Okay.
sound about right? I haven't put any of that into practice, but what's your technique
Yeah.
for your
So,
game A?
well, I'll tell you what my technique when I was a white belt coming up to blue belt. There was one submission I was very good at, and that was rear naked chokes. That was my number one thing. And the
Yeah.
only way I got to those positions was because I had a very good installed in me about position over a submission. So
Okay.
my mindset was always like, get to the best position I possibly can, and then I can go for this submission. Because we all know the dominant positions are back and mount.
Yeah.
They're the two
Yeah.
most dominant. I don't care. They're the two dominant positions.
Yeah.
If you're on those two positions, you have the highest likelihood of tapping or secure or just dominating the entire match. Am I
Yeah.
right? So
I'm
when I
having to
was
say yes
key,
because I'm a naive blue belt. I go, yes, Corey.
yeah, yeah. Wow, yeah. So you got those two things. So if we can install people into those two top positions, like wherever you are, get to those positions.
Yeah.
You'll find out that your options of submissions have increased from a higher percentage rather than a lower percentage. Because let's
Yeah.
say you're in side control. How many submissions are from side control? a few. You got arm bars,
Yeah.
you got sort of things like that, but they're very risky. Very
Okay.
risky submission. Very easy for things to go wrong.
Yeah.
Let's say if I'm on someone's back and I go for a rear naked, let's say defensive rear naked, I'm still on his back.
Yeah.
So it's all about this. I was going for the highest percentage I could for a submission, and going for that. That was my key. That's what I would stole if I was a teacher in a club. I would stole to my students at white and blue belt. Like, I don't really care about the submissions. The submissions will come, but I would highly prioritize your positions. And then from those top, if you can hold someone down if you on mountain, you can hold someone down for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He's gonna make a mistake, and you're gonna submit him.
Yeah. Okay. And now I had someone, and I was in mount position today for a while, and I just kept kind of switching, and I wasn't able to kind of do S mount and then armbar. But what is your natural submission from mount? This is me, innocent blue belt, because I don't know. What submission
Gift
do
wrap
you
to the
do
back.
from? Ah, okay.
Just gift wrapped for the back.
All right. I feel very silly, but actually, no question is a silly question. You know, we all are in.
We all make
different...
silly. So I don't believe in silly questions. They're only silly questions when you don't ask them.
Yes. There we go.
I don't care.
Okay, so from mount,
ask questions.
Take the back. Okay, I'm going to work on that. That's my next strategy, because I guess the next phase for me is actually putting a game plan together. And I don't really know right now. I'm fumbling around with side control and leg locks and all sorts of other things. I haven't mastered wrist lock yet. I think obviously there are some incredible black belts that pull out a wrist lock. I haven't.
We had a fun thing. We had one of our guys got promoted to blue belt not long ago, Lil Scott, and then I said to him, "You're now legal for me to wipe wrist lock." So the entire round, I just wrist locked him for an entire round.
You're so mean. You're so mean.
I just went wrist lock on him. Well, it teaches them. I think it's funny when you get white belts and they don't, and then you have to. You see that freak in their eye when they realize, oh God, this way I've been holding this position for so long has been so vulnerable now.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Being able to notice your vulnerabilities in a match or a sparring session, and then not make that mistake again.
It's like I said to the guys at the club for like the lower belts, and I said you should be tapping like 100 times in class. You should be tapping 100 times in a class before you tap 100 times in a competition.
Oh, that's a good one. I've got a long way to go, Corey. Hands breathe. How many weeks until the British Open? Not many. Right, I better get cracking. Corey, it's been fantastic chatting with you again. I will have you back on again within the next 12 months. I'd love to see your progress with refereeing, and maybe even some seminars. Now we've put that out into the universe, who knows what's going to happen?
Happy to be here as always. I am. Whenever you need me, I'm always earshot away.
Oh, amazing!
I'm always on Instagram. I'm always on Instagram. And my hours on there are probably like 22 hours out of 24.
You might have to reapportion your your priorities over time, Corey. But how can people follow your journey if they are not already?
Well, you can follow me on Instagram at CoreyKent57. I'm quite frequently on there. I always try to answer people as much as I can, or I'm always making content on there. And that'll be the best place for people to contact me or just view my journey.
Amazing. Corey, thank you so much. I wish you all the success in the Battle of the Coreys upcoming. Good luck with it all. I will continue to laugh at your stories and your humorous shares.
At least someone's laughing. At least someone's laughing. I got one person laughing.
Amazing. Right. Look after yourself, Corey. I'll see you soon.
You too. Look after yourself.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for telling your friends about this show, and as soon as this episode ends, I'd really appreciate you dropping the show a rating and a review. Why not even subscribe if you get this far? Anyway, thanks again for listening. Catch you on the next episode of the Jiu Jitsu podcast.